I'm from Atlanta and I'm telling a story about Atlanta. And I take that very seriously. Like I've said this before, like what's super important to me is that I got to be able to walk through the streets of Atlanta. I got family in Atlanta. Like our name is important.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's your man Kyle Price. My name is KP because we're all friends now. Welcome to the Quintessential Gentleman Talks. I'm here with the writer, creator, producer of the new series Fight Night, the Million Dollar Heist, Shaye Ogbonna. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. Feeling blessed. Feeling humble. Feeling excited. Yeah, a lot of things.
Okay.
Just ready to unleash this thing on the world and see what pops, see what happens.
Yeah. But September 5th on Peacock. That's when everything
Hmm.
starts. All right,
Yep.
so it's a pretty star-studded cast. Like, how was it producing all of this amazing talent, bringing everybody together, telling this infamous story?
Mhm. How was it? I mean, it was funny when we first started to pitch this before we even remotely had this cast. I always thought of it and pitched it as this could be Black Ocean's 11. You know what I mean? Like, and as a creative, that's always kind of been like a dream of mine is to like try to make something with just an amazing amount of talent, lined up.
Mm.
And I think it's the reason that a lot of people were interested into this in this project wanted to sign on because of the opportunity to do that. So there was always like a dream. I didn't, of course I wasn't, fool enough to think it could potentially come true, but it was something I always thought of just like this could really be kind of like an iconic cast type situation where it's just like a murderer's row of talented icons, and we got lucky. Kevin was the first to join, and the thing about Kevin that I've always said and I love about him is that I say he has a lot of gravity as a star. People want to work with him, man. Everybody loves him, and people want to work with him. And he's a specific, spectacular talent. And I think I would argue that him and Will in addition, I don't want to obviously I want to give myself credit and give the writers credit of just like crafting a great, story and great scripts. And obviously, that has to be great for this level of talent to come aboard. But I definitely want to give Will and Kevin all the credit in the world of just really kind of drawing all these high quality names to the project.
Right, all right. Because Kevin's work ethic is like off the chain. Like every time I see him,
Mhm.
he's a different venture, a different endeavor. Like all of it is crazy. Like, were there any challenges in particular that you had like pulling all these people together? Because I know Kevin, like he has the pull and everything, but just like
Mhm.
making your vision come true. Were there any challenges pulling that together?
No, not any like significant challenges. Everybody was pretty much on board and ready to play. And I think a big reason for that being the case is that a lot of the top line cast they had already worked together in
Right.
different iterations. They already had relationships with each other, and wanted they all hadn't had a chance to work all together, but they all have their own histories and connections and relationships. Specifically, Don. I think Don is the one that's worked with everybody on that cast,
Yeah.
but never obviously at the same time. So I think that was also a big draw of just like it's like it is literally like it's a big cookout, it's a big reunion. Let's come through and let's eat on some chicken and some brisket and let's go. So that's
Yeah.
really honestly, I just think everybody and it being in Atlanta
Yeah.
as well. And I'm sure we'll get into this, but also just it being in Atlanta, it was very much an Atlanta production, meaning it was a lot of soul in that cast and crew. And I think for our cast, I think a lot of them appreciated that. I know they've spoken to it and just feeling like, yo, this is different. You know what I mean?
And you were saying before, like you're from Atlanta, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
No.
Southwest. Hmm.
So this project feels particularly special to you, having all these people come together. It's kind of kismet. It's all coming
Yeah.
together. Like you said, wasn't necessarily anything you initially thought could come together, but it came together in this particular way. Now, you worked on a couple projects. How has this project, like you spoke on it briefly, but how has this project been different in terms of scale, in terms of expectations, in terms of the way that people gel together than the other projects that you worked on?
Well, I mean, this is my first project as a showrunner. I've been on some like high profile projects as a writer, but
Mm,
never as like the creative voice. So this is my first time out of the gate. And obviously, I've worked in film before.
mm,
I've had an opportunity to work, with some high profile talent, but not at this level, and
mm,
not me being the creative voice. So I would just say it was completely different from anything I've ever done because I'm the one that people are looking to, you know what I mean, for creative direction and to keep the trains running. And so for me, in those other positions, I didn't have that responsibility. And in addition to that, and you just mentioned it, I'm from Atlanta and
yeah.
I'm telling a story about Atlanta. And I take that very seriously. Like I've said this before, like what's super important to me is that I got to be able to walk through the streets of Atlanta. I got family in Atlanta. Like our name is important. You know what I mean? So it's extremely important that we represented the city right, and we tell, you know, um, it is a love letter to Atlanta. And that was the thing for me that was paramount from day one. Is that's what it is, and so for me, I think that also was a huge. It just raised the stakes for me, and being from the city and being the kid that had dreams and always wanted to tell stories at this level, it is a culmination. It's weird. I wish I can go back in time and talk to 7-year-old Shay and be like, "Yo, man, like, yeah,
We did that.
you did it, bro. Like, you did that thing." 7-year-old Shay. So yeah, I could be more like I said, I'm just humble and I'm proud. Like, it's still, I don't. It probably won't really kick in and process for me until I'm like 75 years old, sitting on the back porch in Atlanta somewhere, sipping on some tea, and then it'd be like, "Oh man, that really happened."
Oh, like,
But yeah, obviously, I'm super excited about it.
okay. I'm about to say,
Mhm.
like, because I know you mentioned bringing a Black Ocean's 11. Like, why
Mhm.
this story in particular, with all the lore that's in Atlanta, this particular story, why did you want to bring this one to life?
Because it's literally, I hate to say it, it sounds really cliche, but it really is a story I was born to tell.
Mm,
In that I'm always, as a storyteller, like I'm a big lover of history, and the one thing I've learned is that a lot of kind of like these localized African American stories are told orally. You can't find them in a book.
mm,
The newspaper that it maybe was in for a day is no longer in print. So
right.
really gets passed down. A lot of our stories get passed down orally, generation to generation. And me being from the city, I had never heard of it, which is
Mm,
crazy. And then when it came through to me, the first thing I did was go call home. You know what I mean? I go home, and of course, everybody generation above me, aunts, uncles, cousins, like everybody knew about it and had some connection to it. And the funny thing is, like, as we've gone on, I'm finding more and more really, really deep kind of like connections from my own family and
mm,
my own, like, to the people involved in the story. So for me, it was ultimately telling the story of my community,
mm.
and that's a huge responsibility. And man, I feel like I'm going on a tangent. I hope I'm answering your
No, no,
question.
no,
Um, but yeah, for me, like, I definitely took it. Like I said, I was me being from the city, me loving history, me always wanting to tell the quintessential Atlanta story, because I feel like there's been a lot of stories that have been set in Atlanta. There've even been shows and movies about Atlanta that are great, but I hadn't seen that show or that movie that was a quintessential Atlanta story. And what this was for me, and what I realized from the moment that I started listening to the podcast, is that this is kind of an origin story of the contemporary modern Atlanta that we know today.
right.
And to have the opportunity to tell that story, because I kind of was there and saw it happen, was just truly an honor. So that was what was important for me, and that was what was, um, like I said, the biggest responsibility for me in terms of the project.
Okay, because I heard
Mm.
that you and Samuel L. Jackson actually did a lot of groundwork to research and make sure that everything is right. Was there one story in particular about the whole experience that you were like, oh, like kind of took you back a little bit and like, no, we have to like be true to the story and flesh it out a little bit more, like with what you found?
This is tough. I'm trying to think. Um, what I would argue, and hopefully this answers your question, like the robbers, for example, the assailants, there wasn't a lot about them in the podcast for the research. And unfortunately, again, it comes with these type of stories, like these people who probably real names weren't getting used a lot, that you tend to disappear. And so it was important for me that those people not be erased, that those people have breadth, agency, dimensions, that they are a part of our story. And it's so funny when I mentioned earlier about my connections. I'm learning that I actually have connection to one of the robbers. So
Oh,
for me, that was something that was always like important to me. I was just like, from every level, this is the story of our community. This is the story of my community, and I'm talking at every level, and that's what makes Atlanta so special. Whether hustlers, gangsters, politicians, clergymen, ministers, all these people
mm,
kind of came together and built this city to what we see today. So for me, it was important that everyone be treated, um, everybody be treated with a broad kind of brushstroke. So for me, to answer your question specifically, it was the robbers.
yeah,
And I would even argue specifically the lead robber, a character by the name of McKinley Rogers. It was very important that we tell their stories and we go into their worlds and their lives, so they aren't just names on a case sheet, or they aren't just dismissed as criminals. And that was something I definitely took on again as like kind of a duty,
yeah.
um, in my role as the showrunner.
All right. So giving all the characters that are showcased in the show just context on who they
Mhm.
are, not just
Yep.
giving a blank canvas of everything. Now I have
Mhm.
a note here that you are a proud alumni of Howard University,
Hate
and
you stand up.
yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
and one of your driving factors has always been having your creative mission center marginalized voices
Mhm.
within genre storytelling. How do you feel like your work has done so far to reflect that mission? And what are you looking to do in the future with future projects that you work on to keep that mission alive?
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like, yeah, if you look at everything I've worked on so far, whether it's, more the mainstream TV stuff, like The Shy, obviously that's a big example of that. Obviously this, um, yeah, even everything that I've been involved in, that's what I'm trying to bring to the table. And it comes from like, look, man, I have a sophisticated palette when it comes to TV and film, you know what I mean? But I'm also like from around the way, you know what I mean? So for me, I'm always looking. I remember being a kid and I grew up watching 80s mainstream kind of movies and blockbusters. And I was always looking for myself in it. And by that, I'm looking in the scene, I'm looking for where the black people, where the brown people in these scenes. And generally there was somewhere on the edge of the frame. And so for me, it's always been for me from day one, from 7-year old Shay to where I'm now, is to get that person in the middle of the frame.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and to do it within genre storytelling and mainstream storytelling, because like I love a good art house film. I love an independent film. I've been involved in those. I made them. I'm a little film nerd in that way. But
Uh-huh.
I grew up like when me and my mom would rent movies on the weekend. We was renting like Steel Magnolias and Goodfellas and ET and stuff like that. So that's the stuff I grew up on. So for me, like it's very important, and also those stories are like very much like American stories, So it's very important for me, and it's always been my drive from day one to center, marginalized voices, people of color, LGBTQ, everyone, and just like the one thing I've learned by being in everyone universally has a very similar experience. We all got parents, who, for a certain extent, or we have family members, or we've lost people, or we love people. And so for me, it's just very important that we've seen kind of the same story told from the same perspective over and over again. And I feel the fresh take on that is to start telling those stories from different perspectives. So I've definitely like done that in the work that I've led on, but even the work that I've been hired on. That's something that I've stressed. That's been important to me. And going forward, yeah, I just want to take it to the next level, man. I want to do like what is Black succession, or what is, and it doesn't have to be the Black version of something, but it's just like we have such. I was just in Martha's Vineyard, you know what I mean, where I saw like just a beautiful array of Black and brown people, and specifically Black people, but also affluent Black people. You know what I mean? So for me, again, it's just like there's so many other. This is just Fight Night is just one story. You know what I mean? You could put that story in the Howard Library, and there's a million more stories there. And it's just like I wanna tell as many of those as I can and tell them from a sophisticated perspective. So sorry for the long-winded answer, but yeah, man, like I'm about that life, and I'm gonna continue to be about that life.
No, I appreciate it because just like how you're a movie nerd, I'm a conversationalist nerd. So like this is perfect. I love
Mhm.
hearing people like geek out about stuff that they're
Yeah,
passionate. But I do
that
have a
was
question.
awesome.
Are you a
Mhm.
Blockbuster person or a Red Box person? Because I know you said you rented the movies. So like, where are you going? How far are we going back for context?
I mean, yeah, Blockbuster. We was at, yeah, I could
Really?
almost tell you the street that the Blockbuster we went to, but yeah, we was Blockbuster people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't even know what Red. I think I went to Redbox like one time in my life. You
Oh,
know
okay.
what
I
I
mean,
mean?
yeah. I
And
mean,
that's it.
Red Box
That's
was
confusing
definitely
to
a
me.
little, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, over here. But
I'm
Blockbuster,
old school.
yeah, I'm going back
Yeah.
to. I don't know if you had it. I had West Coast
Mhm.
Video. That's how far I'm going back. But that
I've
might
heard of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah, I've
might
heard
be
of West Coast
reasons
Video.
because
Yeah,
I'm from up north, so like that's probably why. But
I've heard.
but
Yeah.
for
Hmm.
everybody
Hmm.
who's going to be deep diving into the show on September 5th, give us a little overview of what we can expect for the series while it's running.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, it stars Kevin and obviously Kevin Dunn and Sam and Taraji and Terrence. So you got a crazy cast, and it's really just about it's about a bunch of hustlers coming from a lot of different walks of life, a lot of people who are trying to level up, and the main character being Chicken Man, a local hustler who the Ali who wants to throw an after party, a big party after the Ali fight, and it's going to have some of the richest black folk in the country, including some not so some shady characters, and that party gets robbed. And this is the story of how that party, that crime, and the Ali fight as an event kind of launched Atlanta into the Black Mecca. But what we do is we really tell it from a really character and human perspective. We tell it from the perspective of all this great ensemble that's involved, and everybody's just trying to level up while also trying to stay alive after this robbery happened. So yeah, that's my long-winded writery way of kind of explaining it. But I just say this, man, it's a lot of fun. I think it's entertaining. It's a lot of fun. It's great performances. Look out for Kevin Hart, man. I've been saying it, man. That dude is an actor. That dude is a movie star, and he about to show y'all. He's really doing some amazing work in this. And yeah, it's just about it's the origin story of this city that I think we all either been there, we've been stuck in that airport, we talked about it, we've hated on it, we loved it, you got drunk there or whatever. This is the story of my city.
I can't wait till everybody sees it. Shaye Ogbonna, thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck on everything and continue to tell those stories that we all need to see.